Jake Martinez disappeared on March 15, 1999, during a work trip as a truck driver between Salt Lake City and a town in interior Nevada. At 34 years old, Martinez had been an employee of Mountain West Logistics Trucking Company for 8 years and had a reputation for punctuality and reliability among colleagues and supervisors. According to company records, Martinez began his career in freight transportation in 1987, shortly after moving to Utah with his wife Maria Elena Martinez. The couple had met in New Mexico, where they both grew up, and decided to try life in the American West in search of better job opportunities. According to Maria Elena, in testimony given to police, Jake always demonstrated dedication to work and responsibility with family commitments. The driver resided with his family in a rented house in the Rose Park neighborhood of Salt Lake City. Maria Elena worked part-time at a local laundromat while caring for the couple's daughter, Sofia Martinez, who was 8 years old at the time. According to neighbors interviewed by investigators, the Martinez family was known in the community as reserved but friendly, occasionally participating in events at the school where Sofia studied. Mountain West Logistics records indicate that Martinez had completed 47 interstate trips in the 12 months prior to his disappearance, primarily transporting industrial equipment and construction materials. Martinez's direct supervisor, Robert Chen, told police that the employee had never missed work without prior notice and always met deadlines established by the company. On the morning of March 15, 1999, Martinez arrived at the Mountain West Logistics Depot at 5:30 a.m., as documented by the company's access control system. That day's load consisted of agricultural machinery parts destined for the town of Ely, Nevada, a trip that normally took about 4 hours. According to Chen, Martinez had made this route at least 6 times in the previous 2 years without any recorded incidents. Maria Elena told investigators that Jake left home around 5 a.m. that morning, after having coffee and checking travel documents. She stated that her husband mentioned plans to return by late afternoon, in time for dinner with the family. Sofia had a school presentation scheduled for the following week, and Martinez had promised to help her rehearse. The truck used by Martinez was a 1995 Peterbilt 379, fleet number 247, equipped with a basic tracking system that recorded location only every 2 hours. Company records show that the last system signal was captured at 9:15 a.m. in an area near the Utah-Nevada border, approximately 20 kilometers south of the main highway. Co-workers described Martinez as an experienced and cautious driver. Tony Valdez, who had worked at the same company for 5 years, stated that Martinez always thoroughly checked the vehicle before long trips and maintained regular communication with dispatchers during routes. Valdez also mentioned that Martinez rarely modified routes established by the company. Martinez's record with the Utah Department of Motor Vehicles showed only 2 minor traffic violations in his entire career as a professional driver. Both were related to speeding on interstate highways with fines paid promptly. His company record showed no disciplinary warnings or customer complaints. Maria Elena informed investigators that the family's financial situation was stable at the time of the disappearance. Martinez earned approximately $45,000 annually, and the couple had managed to save about $3,200 with the goal of making a down payment on their own home. She denied any marital or family problems that could have motivated a planned escape. Martinez's weekly routine, according to family members, included working Monday through Friday, with occasional weekend trips when necessary for the company. He attended Our Lady of Guadalupe Catholic Church with his family on Sundays and occasionally watched softball games in a local league during the summer. Sofia Martinez, in an interview conducted by a child psychology specialist assigned by police, described her father as present and caring, always interested in her school activities. She mentioned that Martinez had promised to teach her to drive when she turned 16 and frequently talked about plans for family vacations in the future. Phone records from the Martinez residence show that Maria Elena tried to contact her husband around 6 p.m. on March 15th, using the cell phone that the company provided to drivers. The call went directly to voicemail, which initially did not cause concern, as Martinez frequently turned off the device during meals or rest stops. Chen, the supervisor, stated that Martinez should have reported arrival at the destination by 3 p.m. that day. When contact was not established by 5 p.m., the company began communication attempts via radio and cell phone, without success. Mountain West Logistics protocol required drivers to report their location every 4 hours during long trips. The last financial transaction recorded in Martinez's name was a fuel purchase at 8:45 a.m. on March 15th at a gas station in Nephi, Utah. The receipt, later analyzed by investigators, showed the purchase of 180 liters of diesel and a coffee, totaling $127.50. The station manager, William Santos, stated he recognized Martinez as an occasional customer, but did not specifically remember that morning. Santos mentioned that most truck drivers who stopped at the establishment continued on the main highway toward Nevada or Arizona. Maria Elena decided to contact police on the morning of March 16th, after a night without news from her husband. She told investigators that Martinez had never spent a night away from home without prior notice, even during mechanical problems with the truck. The Salt Lake City Police Department registered the case as an adult missing person at 9:30 a.m. that morning. The first step of the investigation involved contacting hospitals and police stations along Martinez's planned route, as well as checking road accident records for the last 24 hours. No incidents involving trucks had been reported in the region during the period in question. Mountain West Logistics cooperated fully with the investigation, providing all records related to Martinez and authorizing access to vehicle tracking system data. Chen informed that the transported cargo had a value of approximately $85,000 and consisted of equipment not easily resold on the black market. During the first 48 hours after the disappearance, investigators interviewed approximately 20 people, including family members, co-workers, neighbors, and acquaintances of the Martinez couple. All testimonies described Jake Martinez as a reliable person dedicated to his family, with no known involvement in questionable activities or problematic relationships. The Rose Park community, where the family resided, quickly mobilized to support Maria Elena and Sophia. Neighbors organized a collection to help with household expenses, while the local parish offered spiritual and emotional support. This community response would be fundamental in the years that followed, as the case remained unsolved. On March 17, 1999, 2 days after Jake Martinez was reported missing, Highway Patrol Officer Dennis Hoffman found the abandoned Peterbilt 379 truck on a secondary road in Millard County, Utah. The vehicle was running with the engine on, the driver's door open, and keys in the ignition, approximately 47 kilometers away from the original route that Martinez should have followed to Nevada. According to the official Utah Highway Patrol report, Hoffman was conducting a routine patrol when he spotted the truck around 10:30 a.m. The road where the vehicle was found was a secondary dirt road that ended in a dead end, occasionally used by local farmers to access rural properties in the region. The patrol officer reported that the engine was running normally, and the fuel level indicated approximately 1/4 of the tank. Initial inspection of the vehicle revealed that the cargo remained intact and sealed. The agricultural equipment in the cargo compartment showed no signs of tampering or attempted theft. Martinez's wallet was found on the truck's dashboard, containing $247 in cash, credit cards, and his commercial driver's license. The cell phone provided by the company was on the passenger seat, with a dead battery. Maria Elena Martinez was notified about the truck's discovery at 2:20 p.m. the same day. In testimony to police, she stated that she could not understand why her husband would have left the main route to follow an unknown secondary road. She confirmed that Jake had never mentioned knowing that specific region of Millard County. Detective Brian Kowalski, assigned to lead the investigation, established a search perimeter of 15 kilometers around the location where the truck was found. The operation involved 25 officers from the Salt Lake City Police Department, Utah Highway Patrol agents, and volunteers from the local community. Searches began on the afternoon of March 17th and continued for 5 consecutive days. Robert Chen, Martinez's supervisor at Mountain West Logistics, told investigators that the company had installed the basic tracking system on all fleet vehicles 2 years earlier. The last signal recorded by the equipment was at 9:15 a.m. on March 15th, at a location approximately 12 kilometers north of where the truck was subsequently found. Chen explained that tracking system failures were relatively common due to the mountainous topography of the region. During the first week of investigation, police interviewed rural residents within a 30-kilometer radius of the discovery site. Margaret Foster, owner of a ranch near the secondary road, reported seeing a large truck passing through the area on the morning of March 15th, but could not determine the exact time. Foster mentioned that it was uncommon to see commercial vehicles on that road, which was generally used only by local residents. Forensic analysis of the vehicle was conducted by the Utah Division of Criminal Investigation. Technicians found no evidence of struggle or confrontation inside the cabin. Fingerprints collected corresponded exclusively to Martinez and other Mountain West Logistics employees, who routinely used the vehicle for maintenance inspections. Maria Elena organized a press conference on March 22nd, 1 week after her husband's disappearance. About 15 journalists from local media attended the event, held at Our Lady of Guadalupe Church headquarters. In her statement, Maria Elena appealed for anyone with information about Jake's whereabouts to contact authorities. The case gained regional media coverage when the Salt Lake Tribune published a front-page story about the disappearance on March 24th. The report highlighted the mysterious nature of the case and included a photo of Martinez provided by the family. The article resulted in approximately 30 calls to the police hotline, but none provided substantial leads. Sofia Martinez, then 8 years old, was temporarily removed from school on the recommendation of a child psychologist hired by the family. The child showed signs of anxiety and difficulty sleeping, according to a medical report subsequently attached to the file. The psychologist, Dr. Thomas Chen, recommended that Sofia gradually return to normal activities after 2 weeks of monitoring. Analysis of Martinez's phone records revealed that his last call had been made at 8:52 a.m. on March 15th to the Mountain West Logistics dispatcher. During the conversation, which lasted 3 minutes, Martinez confirmed that he was following the planned route and estimated arrival at destination around 2 p.m. The dispatcher, Carlos Mendoza, stated that nothing in the conversation indicated problems or concerns. The client company in Ely, Nevada, confirmed that Martinez never arrived at the delivery location. Depot manager Richard Thompson reported waiting for the truck's arrival throughout the afternoon of March 15th. Thompson mentioned that the company had scheduled 2 employees to work until 6 p.m., specifically to receive the agricultural equipment shipment. On March 28th, the ground search was expanded to include difficult access areas using Utah National Guard helicopters. The aerial operation covered approximately 150 square kilometers over 3 days, but located no trace of Martinez. Lieutenant Colonel James Walsh, operation commander, stated that weather conditions were favorable and visibility was adequate for detecting a person on the surface. Investigators also considered the possibility that Martinez had left the area voluntarily. Detective Kowalski ordered verification of passenger records for buses and planes departing from Salt Lake City and nearby cities between March 15th and 20. No records corresponding to Martinez's name or description were found in public or commercial transportation systems. The Martinez family's financial situation became precarious after the disappearance. Maria Elena applied for assistance from the company's life insurance, but the policy required a 7-year waiting period in cases of disappearance without evidence of death. The Rose Park community organized a relief fund that raised $8,400 in donations during the first 2 months. Reverend Miguel Sandoval of Our Lady of Guadalupe Church coordinated weekly prayer groups for the Martinez family. Sandoval reported that attendance at Sunday Masses increased considerably in the weeks following the disappearance, with many parishioners expressing solidarity with the family. The church also served as a coordination center for volunteer search efforts. In April 1999, the official investigation was transferred to the Utah Department of Criminal Investigation due to the interstate nature of the case. Special Agent Linda Morrison assumed leadership of the investigations, bringing additional resources and experience in missing person cases. Morrison ordered a complete review of all evidence collected during the first month. Detailed analysis of the truck revealed that the odometer showed 1,247 additional kilometers since the last maintenance inspection, performed 1 week before the disappearance. This distance was consistent with the route from Salt Lake City to the location where the vehicle was found. but did not explain why Martinez had deviated from the main highway. Tony Valdez, Martinez's co-worker at Mountain West Logistics, offered a personal reward of $2,000 for information leading to the location of the missing driver. Valdez told local media that Martinez was like a brother to him and that he was convinced something had happened against his friend's will. Investigators consulted behavior specialists to develop a psychological profile of Martinez. Dr. Sarah Coleman, forensic psychologist at the University of Utah, analyzed interviews with family members and colleagues and concluded that Martinez did not display typical characteristics of people who disappear voluntarily. Coleman highlighted Martinez's strong family bond and professional responsibility as factors that made a planned escape unlikely. In May 1999, the Utah Highway Patrol installed informational signs about Martinez's disappearance along main highways in the region. The signs included a photo of the missing driver and a phone number for information. This initiative generated approximately 50 additional calls during the first 2 months, but none resulted in concrete leads. Maria Elena returned to full-time work at the local laundromat in June 1999, out of financial necessity. She told Detective Morrison that she needed to maintain stability for Sophia, who had returned to school but still showed concentration difficulties. Maria Elena's supervisor at the laundromat, Patricia Williams, allowed flexible hours so she could participate in search activities when necessary. Media coverage of the case gradually decreased during the summer of 1999, but the Martinez family continued organizing monthly searches with volunteers. These operations were coordinated by Margaret Foster, the ranch owner near the location where the truck was found. Foster had become a vocal advocate for the family and frequently accompanied Maria Elena in media interviews. In September 1999, 6 months after the disappearance, Agent Morrison reclassified the case as a long-term investigation. She explained to the family that the investigation would remain active, but daily resources would be reduced due to lack of new leads. Morrison assured that any new information would be immediately investigated with maximum priority. Mountain West Logistics established a $5,000 scholarship in Martinez's name for Sophia to attend university in the future. Company owner David Walsh stated that the company would never forget such a dedicated employee and would continue supporting the family for as long as necessary. The company also officially kept Martinez's job open during the first 6 months. The first anniversary of the disappearance in March 2000 was marked by a vigil at Our Lady of Guadalupe Church. Approximately 200 people attended the event, including co-workers, neighbors, community members, and law enforcement representatives. Maria Elena publicly thanked the continued support and reaffirmed her determination to continue seeking answers about her husband's fate. During this period, the family received support from national missing persons family groups. The National Missing Persons Directory organization included Martinez's information in its database and provided legal guidance to Maria Elena about her rights and available options. The case was also registered in the National Criminal Information System, ensuring that any contact with Martinez would be immediately reported to Utah authorities. Local television station KUTV produced a 30-minute documentary about the case in June 2000, featuring interviews with family members, investigators, and community supporters. The program aired during prime time and generated renewed public interest, resulting in approximately 75 new tips to the police hotline. Detective Morrison assigned 2 officers to follow up on each lead, but none provided breakthrough information. The Martinez case became a reference point for missing person protocols in Utah. The state legislature passed new requirements for trucking companies to upgrade tracking systems and implement more frequent driver check-ins during long hauls. The legislation, informally known as the Martinez Act, was signed into law in October 2000. Sophia Martinez began receiving counseling from a school psychologist in September 2000 as she entered 4th grade. School records indicate that her academic performance had declined significantly since her father's disappearance, and teachers reported frequent episodes of distraction and emotional withdrawal. The counselor, Dr. Rebecca Martinez, no relation, recommended continued support throughout the school year. Maria Elena joined a support group for families of missing persons that met monthly at a community center in Salt Lake City. The group, facilitated by social worker Janet Foster, provided emotional support and practical advice for dealing with the ongoing uncertainty. Maria Elena later became a group leader, helping other families navigate similar experiences. The financial strain on the Martinez family intensified during the second year. Despite community support and the scholarship fund, Maria Elena struggled to maintain mortgage payments on the family home. In December 2000, the family was forced to move to a smaller apartment in the same neighborhood, though neighbors helped coordinate the relocation to minimize disruption to Sophia's schooling. Detective Morrison retired from the Utah Department of Criminal Investigation in March 2001, 2 years after taking on the Martinez case. Her replacement, Detective Samuel Rodriguez, inherited the file and committed to maintaining the same level of attention to any new developments. Rodriguez met with Maria Elena monthly during his first year to ensure continued family support and case awareness. The trucking industry trade publication Transport Topics featured Martinez's case in a special report on driver safety in remote areas. The article prompted several trucking companies to review their driver communication protocols and emergency procedures. Mountain West Logistics was featured as an example of proper cooperation with law enforcement agencies during missing person investigations. By 2002, the immediate search efforts had concluded, but the case remained officially open and active. Annual memorial services continued at Our Lady of Guadalupe Church, serving both as remembrance for Martinez and awareness-raising for other missing person cases in Utah. These services typically drew 100 to 150 attendees and often featured updates from law enforcement officials. By 2005, 6 years had passed since Jake Martinez's disappearance, and the case had settled into what investigators termed cold case status. Maria Elena Martinez had remarried in 2004 to David Romero, a construction supervisor she met through the missing persons support group. According to family friends, the marriage provided stability for Sophia, who was then 14 years old and struggling with adolescent challenges compounded by her father's unexplained absence. Detective Samuel Rodriguez maintained quarterly reviews of the Martinez file, checking for any new developments or technological advances that might assist the investigation. In 2006, Rodriguez attended a conference on cold case investigations, where he learned about advances in ground-penetrating radar technology that had proven successful in locating human remains in desert environments. The Utah Department of Criminal Investigation acquired new GPR equipment in late 2006, partly motivated by unresolved cases like Martinez's disappearance. The technology could detect subsurface anomalies up to 3 meters deep and had been successfully used in Arizona and Nevada to locate missing persons in similar terrain. Rodriguez proposed a new search operation using this equipment in the spring of 2007. Maria Elena, now Maria Elena Romero, initially hesitated about renewed search efforts. In interviews with Detective Rodriguez, she expressed concern about the emotional impact on Sophia, who was preparing for high school graduation. However, after consulting with Dr. Rebecca Martinez, Sophia's counselor, the family agreed to support limited search operations using the new technology. The 2007 search operation was conducted over 5 days in April, focusing on areas within a 10-kilometer radius of where Martinez's truck had been found 8 years earlier. The GPR team, led by Dr. Michael Foster from the University of Utah Geology Department, systematically scanned areas that had been inaccessible during the original ground searches due to rough terrain. Margaret Foster, the ranch owner who had become an advocate for the Martinez family, provided logistical support for the search operation. Her property served as a base camp, and she coordinated with local volunteer groups who had maintained interest in the case over the years. Foster had documented every previous search effort and maintained detailed maps of areas already covered. The GPR searches identified 17 subsurface anomalies that warranted excavation. Over the course of 3 weeks, teams investigated each location, but found only natural rock formations, animal remains, and debris from old mining operations in the area. Detective Rodriguez documented each excavation site to prevent duplication in future search efforts. Sofia Martinez graduated from high school in May 2007, with plans to attend the University of Utah in the fall. During her graduation ceremony, she dedicated her achievement to her father's memory in a brief speech that moved many attendees to tears. Sofia had decided to study psychology with the goal of helping other families dealing with missing persons cases. In 2009, 10 years after the disappearance, documentary filmmaker Jennifer Chen approached the Martinez family about creating a film examining the case. Chen, who had produced several award-winning documentaries about unsolved mysteries, believed that renewed media attention might generate new leads. The family agreed to participate after Chen committed to donating any profits to missing persons organizations. The documentary production process led to re-examination of evidence and interviews with key figures in the case. During filming, Chen discovered that the original search perimeter had been limited by jurisdictional boundaries between Millard and Juab counties. Some areas within the theoretical walking distance from Martinez's truck had never been thoroughly searched due to bureaucratic complications. Former Mountain West logistics dispatcher Carlos Mendoza, who had been the last person to speak with Martinez, revealed new information during his documentary interview. Mendoza recalled that Martinez had mentioned seeing unusual rock formations during their final conversation, a detail that had not been included in the original police report. This description matched geological features located approximately 15 kilometers southeast of where the truck was found. The documentary, titled Desert Silence: The Jake Martinez Mystery, premiered at the Sundance Film Festival in January 2010. The film generated significant media attention and was subsequently broadcast on the Investigation Discovery Channel, reaching a national audience. The broadcast resulted in over 300 tips to the Utah Department of Criminal Investigation within the first month. Detective Rodriguez, working with 2 additional investigators, spent 6 months following up on tips generated by the documentary. Most leads proved irrelevant, but 3 reports described sightings of a man matching Martinez's description in remote areas of central Utah during the weeks following his disappearance. However, none of these sightings could be verified or connected to concrete evidence. Sofia Martinez, now Sofia Romero after her mother's remarriage, completed her bachelor's degree in psychology in 2011. Her senior thesis examined the psychological impact of ambiguous loss on family members of missing persons. The research, supervised by Dr. Sarah Coleman, who had worked on her father's case, was later published in the Journal of Family Psychology. In 2012, advances in satellite imagery technology prompted a review of the Martinez case. Google Earth had begun providing high-resolution historical imagery dating back to 1999, allowing investigators to examine the search area as it appeared at the time of the disappearance. Dr. Foster from the University of Utah assisted in analyzing the satellite data for any anomalies that might have been missed during ground searches. The satellite analysis revealed several areas of disturbed Earth that were visible in imagery from late 1999, but had not been identified during the original investigation. These areas were located in rugged terrain that had been deemed inaccessible for the search teams of that era. Detective Rodriguez organized a new search operation for the summer of 2012, utilizing rock climbing specialists and aerial support. Maria Elena Romero had given birth to a son, Miguel, in 2008, and was pregnant with her second child with David Romero. She expressed mixed feelings about the renewed search efforts, stating in interviews that she had found peace with uncertainty, but remained committed to finding answers for Sofia's sake. David Romero had been supportive of all search efforts and had developed a close relationship with Sofia. The 2012 search operation employed a team of 12 specialists, including rock climbers, GPR technicians, and forensic anthropologists. The team spent 3 weeks examining previously inaccessible areas identified through satellite analysis. On August 15, 2012, searchers located fragments of fabric and metal approximately 18 kilometers from where Martinez's truck had been found. Initial analysis of the discovered materials was inconclusive. The fabric samples were too degraded for DNA analysis, and the metal fragments appeared to be from various sources, possibly including vehicle parts, camping equipment, or mining debris. However, the discovery location matched the general direction that Martinez might have traveled if he had become disoriented and attempted to walk toward what he perceived as a main road. Dr. Angela Rodriguez, a forensic anthropologist from Utah State University, examined the discovery site and concluded that the materials had been deposited over several years rather than from a single event. While this reduced the likelihood that the debris was directly connected to Martinez, she recommended continued searching in the general area due to favorable preservation conditions. The search was suspended in September 2012 due to early winter weather, but Detective Rodriguez secured funding for a more comprehensive operation the following spring. The Utah Department of Public Safety had allocated additional resources to cold case investigations, partly due to public attention generated by the Martinez documentary and similar cases. Sofia Romero married her college boyfriend, Thomas Chen, in September 2013. The wedding, held at Our Lady of Guadalupe Church, included an empty chair and place setting in memory of Jake Martinez. Sofia had legally changed her surname back to Martinez after completing college, stating that maintaining her father's name was important to her identity and healing process. In 2014, 15 years after the disappearance, advances in DNA analysis technology allowed for re-examination of evidence from Martinez's truck. The Utah State Crime Laboratory had acquired equipment capable of extracting DNA from increasingly degraded samples. However, analysis of fabric samples from the driver's seat and steering wheel confirmed only Martinez's DNA, with no evidence of additional individuals. The Martinez case had become a teaching example at the University of Utah Criminal Justice Department. Professor Linda Morrison, the former detective who had led the investigation, used the case to illustrate challenges in missing person investigations and the importance of maintaining long-term case files. Students often conducted mock investigations as part of their coursework. Margaret Foster, who had supported the family throughout the investigation, passed away in November 2014 at age 78. Her will designated a portion of her estate to establish the Margaret Foster Fund for missing persons searches, specifically supporting technological advances in desert search and rescue operations. The fund's first project was purchasing advanced GPR equipment for the Utah Department of Emergency Services. Detective Rodriguez received approval for one final comprehensive search operation in 2015, utilizing all available technological resources and incorporating lessons learned from previous efforts. The operation was planned as a definitive attempt to locate Martinez's remains, after which the case would transition to a purely reactive status, responding only to new evidence or tips. Sofia Martinez Chen had begun working as a victim advocate with the Utah Attorney General's office, specializing in missing persons cases. Her personal experience and professional training made her an effective counselor for other families facing similar situations. She frequently spoke at conferences and training sessions for law enforcement personnel. The planned 2015 search operation was delayed due to budget constraints and personnel changes within the Utah Department of Criminal Investigation. Detective Rodriguez retired in December 2014, and his replacement, Detective Maria Santos, needed time to review the extensive case file and develop her own strategy for the final search effort. As 2015 progressed, the Martinez family had reached a complex emotional equilibrium. Maria Elena Romero focused on her younger children while maintaining annual memorial services for Jake. Sofia continued her advocacy work and had begun writing a book about her experience growing up with an unsolved disappearance. The case remained officially open, but active investigation had essentially concluded pending new evidence or technological breakthroughs. In March 2016, 17 years after Jake Martinez's disappearance, the Utah Department of Criminal Investigation received approval for what would become the final comprehensive search operation. Detective Maria Santos, who had inherited the case from Rodriguez, collaborated with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Adults to organize a multi-agency effort utilizing the most advanced search technology available at that time. The operation, designated Project Desert Light, was scheduled for September 2016 to take advantage of optimal weather conditions and new thermal imaging capabilities that worked best during temperature variations between day and night hours. The search team included specialists from the FBI's Evidence Response Team, Utah Search and Rescue, researchers from the University of Utah's Anthropology Department, and volunteers from organizations that had supported the Martinez family throughout the investigation. Dr. Jennifer Walsh, a forensic anthropologist who had recently joined the university faculty, brought extensive experience from similar cases in Arizona and New Mexico desert regions. Walsh had developed specialized protocols for locating human remains in arid environments, using a combination of ground-penetrating radar, thermal imaging technology, and systematic grid-searching methodologies. Her innovative methods had successfully located remains in 12 cold cases over the previous 5 years across the southwestern United States. Sophia Martinez Chen, now 25 years old and working as a victim advocate with the Utah Attorney General's office, requested leave from her position to participate directly in the search operation. She had completed specialized training in search and rescue techniques through the National Association for Search and Rescue, and felt emotionally prepared to be directly involved in the final attempt to locate her father. Her husband Thomas supported her decision completely, understanding the critical importance of potential closure for Sophia and the entire Martinez family. The search operation focused on a carefully calculated 25-square-kilometer area, extending southeast from the precise location where Martinez's truck had been discovered 17 years earlier. This specific direction was determined based on comprehensive analysis of prevailing wind patterns, detailed terrain features, historical weather data from March 1999, and psychological research on the behavioral tendencies of disoriented individuals attempting to navigate unfamiliar territory in emergency situations. Previous search efforts had been significantly limited by the technology available in 1999 and early 2000s, as well as budget constraints and jurisdictional complications between multiple county agencies. The 2016 operation represented the first opportunity to conduct a truly comprehensive search using state-of-the-art equipment and unlimited access to areas that had been deemed too dangerous or inaccessible during earlier investigations. On September 12, 2016, during the third day of intensive searching, thermal imaging equipment detected a significant subsurface anomaly approximately 19 kilometers southeast from the truck discovery location. The thermal reading suggested the presence of subsurface material with markedly different thermal properties than the surrounding natural soil composition, possibly indicating organic decomposition that had occurred over an extended period. Ground-penetrating radar equipment was immediately deployed to the anomaly location, confirming the presence of a large buried object approximately 1.5 meters below the current surface level. The radar signature was consistent with human remains that had been naturally covered by years of wind-blown sand, seasonal flooding, and normal geological processes common in the Utah desert environment. Excavation procedures began immediately under the direct supervision of Dr. Walsh and FBI evidence recovery technicians, following strict forensic archaeology protocols to preserve any potential evidence. After 4 hours of methodical digging using specialized tools designed to protect fragile remains, the team uncovered human skeletal remains, along with numerous personal artifacts including fragments of deteriorated clothing, a severely damaged leather wallet, and a corroded metal wristwatch. Initial field examination at the discovery site confirmed that the skeletal remains were consistent with an adult male of Martinez's approximate age, height, and physical build, based on measurements of major bone structures. The wallet, despite significant leather deterioration from exposure to elements, still contained Martinez's driver's license and several credit cards, though the plastic had warped and discolored substantially over the 17-year period. The wristwatch found with the remains was identified as a Timex Ironman model that Maria Elena immediately confirmed Jake had worn daily throughout their marriage. She provided investigators with a photograph showing Martinez wearing the identical watch during Sophia's 7th birthday party in 1998, approximately 1 year before his disappearance. A gold wedding ring discovered with the remains matched exactly the ring described in the original missing person report, including a distinctive scratch on the band that Maria Elena remembered clearly. Dr. Walsh conducted preliminary analysis at the excavation site and estimated that the remains had been at the location for approximately 15 to 20 years, which aligned perfectly with the time frame of Martinez's disappearance in March 1999. The position and arrangement of the skeletal remains, along with the distribution of personal belongings, suggested that Martinez had sought shelter in the natural depression where he was found, possibly during severe weather conditions, and had not survived prolonged exposure to the harsh desert environment. Additional evidence recovered from the site included fragments of Martinez's work boots, deteriorated remnants of his jacket, and small metal objects that appeared to be from his belt buckle and truck keys. Each item was carefully cataloged and photographed before being transported to the Utah State Crime Laboratory for detailed forensic analysis and official confirmation of identity. Dental records maintained by Martinez's dentist in Salt Lake City provided definitive confirmation of identity. On September 20th, 2016, Dr. Patricia Chen, who had treated Martinez for routine dental care, compared X-rays taken in 1998 with dental remains recovered from the site. The comparison revealed multiple unique characteristics that conclusively confirmed the remains belonged to Jake Martinez. The Millard County Medical Examiner, Dr. E. Robert Thompson, conducted a comprehensive examination of the remains and officially determined the cause of death as exposure to environmental elements, with contributing factors of severe dehydration and hypothermia. The examination revealed no evidence of traumatic injury, violence, or foul play. Dr. Thompson concluded that Martinez had died of natural causes related to survival challenges in the desert environment. The discovery location provided investigators with crucial information about Martinez's final movements and the circumstances leading to his death. Based on the measured distance from his abandoned truck and the challenging terrain between the two locations, investigators reconstructed a timeline showing that Martinez had become disoriented and walked in the wrong direction while attempting to seek help or reach a main road. Weather records from the National Weather Service for March 15, 1999, showed that nighttime temperatures in the area had dropped below freezing on multiple occasions during that week. Combined with daytime temperatures exceeding 80 degrees Fahrenheit, these extreme temperature fluctuations would have been potentially fatal for someone without adequate shelter, warm clothing, or sufficient water supplies. Detailed analysis of personal items recovered with the remains revealed additional information about Martinez's final hours and survival attempts. His cellular phone, though severely damaged by years of exposure, was examined by FBI technical specialists who determined that Martinez had attempted to make multiple emergency calls but could not establish connection due to complete lack of cellular tower coverage in the remote desert location. A small leather notebook found in Martinez's wallet contained handwritten notes that appeared to be attempts to map his location and calculate distances to potential roads or help. The writing, though faded and partially illegible, showed that Martinez had been conscious and thinking clearly during at least part of his ordeal, attempting to navigate using landmarks and estimated distances. Maria Elena Romero received official notification of the discovery from Detective Santos on the afternoon of September 20th, 2016. In subsequent interviews with local media, she stated that learning the truth about her first husband's fate brought simultaneous feelings of relief and renewed grief. The family had lived with uncertainty and unanswered questions for 17 years, and while confirmation of Jake's death was emotionally devastating, it provided the closure necessary to fully process their loss and move forward with their lives. Sofia Martinez Chen was present at the excavation site when her father's remains were initially discovered on September 12th. She later described the experience in interviews as surreal, but absolutely necessary for her personal healing process. The physical evidence conclusively confirmed what she had suspected for many years, that her father had not abandoned his family voluntarily, but had become an unfortunate victim of circumstances completely beyond his control. The investigation team's reconstruction of events revealed that Martinez had likely experienced mechanical problems with his truck that forced him to take the secondary dirt road where the vehicle was ultimately found. Subsequent examination of the truck's detailed maintenance records suggested possible issues with the cooling system that might have forced an unscheduled stop in an area without cellular coverage or passing traffic. Unable to repair the mechanical problem and lacking any means of communication with the outside world, Martinez had apparently made the fateful decision to abandon his truck and attempt to walk to seek help. Based on the direction he traveled and the terrain features in the area, investigators concluded that Martinez had become disoriented, possibly due to heat exhaustion or dehydration, and had walked away from potential rescue rather than toward it. Forensic analysis conducted by Dr. Thompson indicated that Martinez had likely survived for approximately 3 to 5 days after leaving his truck, based on the condition of his remains and evidence found at the site. Physical evidence suggested that he had carefully rationed a small amount of food and water that he had carried from the truck, demonstrating survival awareness and determination to live through the ordeal. Additional evidence discovered at the site indicated that Martinez had attempted to signal for potential rescue by creating visible markers in the desert using rocks and pieces of clothing. However, the search area was extremely remote, and the improvised markers were too small to be detected by the helicopter and aircraft searches that had been conducted extensively during the initial investigation in 1999. The successful location of Martinez's remains prompted a comprehensive review of search protocols and procedures for missing persons cases in desert environments throughout Utah and neighboring states. The Utah Department of Public Safety implemented new operational guidelines requiring significantly expanded search perimeters and extended search durations for cases involving individuals with outdoor experience who might survive longer than average in harsh conditions. The Martinez case clearly demonstrated that even knowledgeable and experienced individuals could become fatally disoriented in harsh desert conditions, especially when dealing with mechanical emergencies, communication failures, and extreme weather variations. The case became a textbook example of how quickly routine work situations could deteriorate into life-threatening emergencies in the remote areas of the American West. Mountain West Logistics, which had been acquired by a larger national transportation company in 2010, established a comprehensive memorial fund in Martinez's name specifically to support desert survival training programs for professional drivers operating in remote areas. The company also committed to upgrading communication equipment in all vehicles to include satellite-based emergency beacons capable of functioning in areas without traditional cellular tower coverage. A formal memorial service for Jake Martinez was conducted on October 15, 2016, at Our Lady of Guadalupe Church in Salt Lake City. More than 400 people attended the service, including original investigators from 1999, dedicated search volunteers, community members who had supported the family throughout the ordeal, and representatives from missing persons organizations across the western United States. Sofia Martinez Chen delivered a heartfelt eulogy, praising her father's character, work ethic, and dedication to family, while also acknowledging the extraordinary commitment of community members who had never given up hope of finding answers. During her speech, she announced her intention to establish a scholarship fund for students pursuing degrees in criminal justice, forensic science, or search and rescue techniques, funded partly by proceeds from a book she was writing about her family's 17-year journey. Maria Elena Romero used the memorial service to express profound gratitude to the investigators, volunteers, and community members who had provided unwavering support to her family throughout the 17-year ordeal. She particularly acknowledged Margaret Foster, the dedicated ranch owner, who had coordinated many search efforts and provided logistical support until her death in 2014. Members of the Foster family attended the service and announced their continued commitment to supporting missing persons causes through the Margaret Foster Memorial Fund. The Martinez case subsequently became an important study example for law enforcement agencies throughout the western United States, particularly for departments dealing with missing persons cases in challenging terrain. The National Missing and Unidentified Persons System featured the case prominently in training materials, emphasizing the critical importance of maintaining long-term investigations and utilizing advancing technology to periodically revisit cold cases that might benefit from new capabilities. Dr. Walsh published a detailed research paper about the Martinez case in the Journal of Forensic Sciences, focusing specifically on the effectiveness of combined thermal imaging and ground-penetrating radar technologies in desert environments. The systematic methodology developed and refined during the Martinez search was subsequently adopted and used successfully to solve similar missing persons cases in Nevada, Arizona, and New Mexico. Detective Santos received official commendation from the Utah Department of Public Safety for her persistence and professional dedication in organizing the final search operation that ultimately solved the case. She consistently credited the successful resolution to advances in search technology, the dedication of volunteers who had maintained interest in the case for nearly 2 decades, and the unwavering determination of the Martinez family to find answers. The precise location where Martinez's remains were discovered was marked with a permanent memorial plaque installed by the Millard County Commission in cooperation with the Martinez family. The site subsequently became a regular destination for training exercises conducted by search and rescue teams from across Utah, who used the challenging terrain to practice advanced techniques for locating missing persons in similar desert environments. Sophia Martinez Chen completed her book titled 17 Years of Questions, A Daughter's Journey Through Loss and Discovery in 2018. The book chronicled her family's emotional journey from the initial shock of her father's disappearance through the final discovery of his remains, becoming an important resource for other families dealing with missing persons cases and raising public awareness about the long-term psychological impacts of unresolved disappearances on family members. In 2019, exactly 20 years after her father's original disappearance, Sophia established the Jake Martinez Foundation, a nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting families of missing persons and funding technological advances in search and rescue operations. The foundation's inaugural project funded thermal imaging equipment for rural sheriff's departments in Utah, Nevada, and Arizona, directly improving their capabilities to conduct effective searches in challenging desert terrain. The Martinez case ultimately highlighted the harsh realities of survival in extreme desert environments and the significant limitations of search technologies that were available in 1999. While the family finally received definitive answers about Jake's fate after 17 years of uncertainty, the case served as a sobering reminder of how quickly routine work situations can become life-threatening emergencies in the remote and unforgiving landscapes of the American West. Maria Elena Romero occasionally visits the memorial site where her first husband's remains were discovered, typically bringing fresh flowers on Jake's birthday and on the anniversary of his disappearance each March. She has stated in interviews that the site represents both a definitive ending and a meaningful new beginning, the conclusion of years of painful uncertainty and unanswered questions, and the start of a new chapter focused on remembrance, healing, and helping other families facing similar tragedies.